There we go. Good morning, friends.
Hello, hello.
So we are live, we are outside, we're enjoying the fresh air. We've got some fun projects for you guys to do today. I'm here with Sarah. We're gonna do some fun stuff that you guys can do at home right now. We've got, sorry about that. So we've got an art project, we've got some outside play, and then we've got a totally random project that's just a lot of fun. So we are excited, we're ready to go. The weather has been so nice lately, we know everybody's itching to get outside, so this is all stuff you can do right in your driveway and totally have fun. So the first thing we're gonna do is some salt art. So, have you ever done salt art before, Sarah?
I haven't.
Okay, so you want to start with, we're using these little trays. These are like lunchroom trays, but a cookie sheet is perfect. So any kind of baking sheet that you would normally use, just some sort of surface with an edge to catch things. So these are some examples of some salt art that I did. There you can see one.
Beautiful.
I did these with my girls last night. Oh look, there's our little puppy dog. So you can see that they're really pretty, they're really unique, and they look real like watercolor and artsy. So we are going to show you how to do it. It's super simple. You want to start with a piece of paper, ideally cardstock. So we're using cardstock. Here, I'll give you two sheets just in case.
Thank you.
You want something a little bit thicker, so a little bit of thicker paper. You could also do it on a piece of cardboard or a piece of wood or something like that. Something thicker, because regular paper is going to soak up and get a little bit too warped and too wet. So then, Elmer's glue. That's all you need is some Elmer's glue.
Thank you.
Regular glue, doesn't have to be Elmer's brand, just want to clarify. Just regular school glue. Any kind of school glue, just not a glue stick. So you want the regular kind of glue. It can be clear, it can be white, it doesn't matter what color it is. And all you do is you draw. So you draw something with your glue. So you draw whatever you would like. Here you see I drew a heart on this one. Sarah, you can draw
a rainbow.
whatever you would like. I'm going to draw a flower here.
I was going to do a flower.
Oh, okay. You draw a
You
flower.
do the flower, that's okay. I'll figure something out.
Okay, I'll draw a cat. I'll draw a cat. How about
Okay,
that?
okay.
So I'm drawing a cat. I'm gonna draw a big circle for my cat, and then some little triangle ears. You guys can draw whatever you want. You can make it as detailed as you want. The kids can just hold the bottle themselves and squirt it, which is extra fun. Mom and Dad, they tend to like that part of it. Don't worry about it being perfect. You just want to draw it however you want it to look. Oh, I'm gonna make my cat happy. I'm gonna give him a happy face.
That's good.
Yeah, very good.
Do you
Okay.
think we could use glitter glue?
Probably not. I think it might mess up the salt here.
Ah.
So you can sort of see, it's kind of hard to see the white on white, but there's my drawing. I just squeezed it out with the glue. Super simple. Once you get your drawing, how you like, oh wait, my cat needs a bigger nose.
Meow.
Once you get your drawing, how you like it, you're all ready to go with your drawing. You need salt. So we hold on, there we go. So we're using regular salts. This is just plain generic salt. Doesn't matter what kind it is. I would say probably not the chunkier kosher salt. Cheap salt is great. And all you're gonna do is cover it with the salt. Again, this is why we're outside. We're making a little bit of a mess, but that's totally fine. It's just salt. And this is why we're using the tray or your cookie sheet so that the salt is not going all over the place. So you want to be sure all your glue is covered to where you can almost not even see the drawing anymore with your where you put all the salt on. All right, so now I'm going to give Sarah the glue so she can do it. Now, as soon as you get your drawing covered in salt, you want to shake it off. You don't want to leave it there for a long time, because the longer it sits there, the salt is going to absorb the glue and it's going to kind of start to puff out, and it makes your drawing look a little bit weird.
Should we sing the song?
What's the song?
Shake it off.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So we're gonna shake it out. There. Ready? Shake it out. Oop. I'm not. You can sing. You sing.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not singing it.
Shake. There we go. So now you can see my drawing a little bit better because the salt is all stuck to the lines. You see my cute little kitty cat? Isn't it so cute? So your little drawing gets a little bit puffier and a little bit sparklier.
Ooh.
Yes. So
Glitter.
yes, absolutely. And now you can, very nice flower. Look at that, Sarah.
I watched Tangled last night.
Oh, no, that does look like the tangled flower.
Thank
Very
you.
good, very good. Yes, because she's also stuck at home.
Yeah.
Yes. And she's the princess of Corona?
Corona? Yes.
Exactly, very
Love
good.
that.
Okay, so now all this extra salt on the tray, you can just pour it. I'm pouring it back into my bucket because that's not, because we're not using it. But you can funnel it back and put it back into the salt. I would recommend putting it into a bowl and then use it for your next salt art project, because you don't want to use it on food after you've used it on the glue. But you can definitely save it and use it again, because you only really need a tiny bit, but you have to make a big mess in order to get it all on there. Okay, now that we've got our cute little drawing covered in our salt, we're gonna add some color. Excited?
What kind of color are you gonna add?
Okay, so you have two options for adding color. You can use regular food coloring,
Classic.
or you can use watercolor paints. So use whichever one that you have. I will say, Mom and Dad, let me see where are my paintbrushes. There we go, paintbrushes. So obviously, kids using food coloring you have to be careful with. But if you want to supervise them with the food coloring definitely makes you can put it right there.
All right.
It makes a darker color. So you can see this drawing here was done mostly with the food coloring, and this one was done mostly with the watercolor. So the watercolor is going to be a softer, lighter color, but it's obviously a little bit safer. It's not going to make quite such a mess. But of course, food coloring is non-toxic and washable and totally comes out, so you're fine there. One recommendation I do have is to put the food coloring in water. You want to dilute it a little bit. So Sarah, if you want to pick a color that you want to paint.
We'll go yellow.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of water here in this cup. Here, you go. There we go, a little bit less water. There we go, so we've got a little bit of water here in the cup, and she's gonna put a couple drops of yellow food coloring there, and she's gonna use the food coloring to paint. I'm going to just get my paintbrush wet with the water, and then I'm gonna use the watercolors. So I'm gonna make my cat purple. So
Obviously.
Once you get the paint on your brush, just like any other kind of painting, you know, you water, a little bit of water, a little bit of paint.
For me, just the colorful water.
Right. So then you're just going to very gently touch a part of the picture.
Ooh.
Yes, and I'm going to scooch up so you guys can see what happens when I do that, because it's really cool how the salt starts to absorb the paint, and it actually will spread and expand. So there you can see there, and watch as I touch it. And you can watch, it's very slow, but it starts to spread further out from where you were.
Oh, I'm doing this again.
And if you use a little bit more water, it spreads a little bit more, but again, the color is not quite as dark, so we'll do some more here. And this is really fun too, especially if you've got someone that's really into art, because you can do different colors together. I'm gonna do, let's do
For
a
like
red
a
right
gradient, like ombre.
Absolutely. See here, look, you can see already just since I did that how the color has already gone down to the bottom of the little kitty cat's head. See, and then if you put the colors next to each other and watch how they blend together. This is really fun. So this is again how we got, like, you can see here on this one how it's the red and then it sort of turns to the yellow and the green and it turns to the blue. You get to really experiment a lot with all the different color options. And really make unique patterns and blending and things like that as the water spreads through the salt. And Sarah probably knows why it does that, why the salt absorbs the water. Because salt just does that.
Well, it's not the salt, but yeah,
Oh.
basically.
So what is it?
It's the water's properties. The salt is just a grain.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Woo.
So it's science. There's science in there. If you guys know what the science is, feel free to comment and talk to us about it. But here, you can see again on this greenish blue one here. I just touched it a little bit, but you can watch how the color is spreading so far. So again, this is a really fun way to make really interesting, unique paintings. And then you just let it dry. So like I said, if you use like a canvas or a harder material, then you'll have something that's more of like a keepsake thing. And it actually looks really pretty. And once it's dry, it's going to be just as hard as glue would be. So it's going to be hard and solid and last for a very long time. These would make really pretty like ornaments, or even you could do it on like a wax paper, and make something that hangs in the window, because the salt crystals would kind of catch the light.
Yes.
So there's a lot of different fun things you could do with it. Once it's totally dry and hard, if you wanted, you could add a layer of Mod Podge or mix some glue with water, just regular Elmer's glue. If you mix it with water to make a really thin layer, it's basically the same as Mod Podge.
Like piñata style.
Yes, exactly. And so then you can coat it, and then that'll keep the salt crystals from coming off if you bump it. And then you can keep it and have a really cool keepsake that you can keep forever. Or you can just, make really silly dog pictures and make a mess and paint and have all sorts of fun and just get to make it. And again, you probably already have some kind of glue. Your mom will be happy you're not making slime for once. And the salt you have, and so you're good to go. And let's look at Sarah's amazing tangled flower.
It's an update. We're not done yet. We still got some details in the middle, but there's an update for
Yes,
you.
but here, scooch it closer so they can see a little bit better, because she's got some really great ombre going on here.
Ooh, I am one of those
Look
people
at
that
that.
really enjoys art. I know, look, super artist over
And
here.
again, you can tell how much darker her colors are because she did use the food coloring.
the dye and stuff.
So the food coloring is definitely a lot darker. It's just still food coloring. So, Mama,
dangerous.
take it at that, and for whatever you would like it to be, Mom and Dad. So there we go. There's our win. We'll pick them up in a second. So that's our first project, and we will add all the instructions and everything in the comments when we're finished with the video. So if you guys want to do this later, you can absolutely do that.
Got
Okay.
like 3 more drops. I'll finish it.
She won't stop with the art. Okay, so our next project we're gonna make is totally not art. It's a little bit messy. You definitely need your parents' permission. We're gonna make some marshmallow shooters.
Art is relative. Everything.
Right? Okay, so we're gonna make some marshmallow shooters so you guys can go in the backyard and have a battle. I would say
We're gonna battle.
a little bit. We're gonna a little bit battle. So all you need for a marshmallow shooter is some kind of small cup. We have paper cups that are left over from a birthday party. We have these plastic kind of cups. You can use like styrofoam to-go coffee cup kind of cups. You just don't want them too big. These are 10 ounce. That seems to be about the perfect size. The really big solo cups are a little bit too big for the balloons. So you just kind of play with it and see how it goes. So you can have a plastic cup.
Oh, thank you.
I will take a paper cup because I'm going to show you the 2 different ways we're going to do it based on
She knows
what
which
we
one's
have.
better, probably.
Yeah. And then you need a balloon. That's pretty much it. A balloon, scissors, a cup, and marshmallows, which is the best part. Okay, so there's a balloon for you.
Thank you, thank you. Ooh, it's blue.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you need to cut the end off of your cup. So I'm going to show you this. The plastic cup is going to end up like this, where the end is totally off. There you go. You can use the scissors there. If you're doing a plastic cup, I will say be sure and have your mom and dad supervise, or maybe even let them do it, because plastic sometimes can get sharp on the edges.
Yeah,
And it's a little bit hard to cut. So just make sure mom and dad are watching and aware of it before you do the plastic cups, because those can be a little bit tricky. The paper cup, actually what we're gonna do, this is a sort of a tricky trick. So paper cups have, the bottom of them is a little bit harder, and then there's sort of a lip, it goes in, it's not flat across the bottom. So the paper cup, we wanna leave this outside, and we're actually just gonna poke a hole in the bottom, and then take this bottom out, but leave the whole cup on there. So see, we're leaving that just like that. And you can all the way rip it out so it's not in there still anymore. But the paper cup will work better if you can keep the whole bottom, because it's a little bit stronger then. The plastic cups are stronger because they're harder, but like I said, they're a little bit sharp. So you can do it either way. So the paper cup, ideally, you just poke the bottom out like this, but leave the whole cup.
Something to make sure that you know when you're doing the plastic cups is that sometimes when you're cutting, you can get little sharp frays, and it's not exactly soft.
And if you do, I would try and smooth those out. So try and cut those so that they're smoothed out, because we don't want it to rip our balloon, because then that would defeat the entire purpose of that balloon. So now we're just taking balloons. These are regular balloons you would blow up for a birthday party, not the tiny water balloon ones. Those are going to be really small. You would have to have a really tiny cup. And probably not like the long ones that make the weird funky shapes and stuff like that.
I love balloon art.
Yeah, and not a Mylar balloon, those silver metallic-y ones, because those you don't blow up at all. We need it to be a stretchy, regular latex balloon.
All right, that's good.
All right, so now you take your balloon and you're just gonna cut off the very end of it. Not much at all, just a teeny tiny tip of it, like that. So teeny tiny tip of it like that is cut off. Probably more, not quite that teeny.
Bigger than teeny tiny, so just tiny.
Yeah, just the very bottom end of it. Again, on the instructions, it has more of a diagram so you can see how it goes. Okay, now the next thing you do is you're gonna tie a knot in it like you just blew it up. So you tie the end of it off like it was blown up, like regular. Woo! There we go. All right, so our balloon, we have the knot in the one end, and then we have the end cut off. We've got our cup with the hole in the bottom. Good. So you're gonna take where you cut the end off, stretch it out big, and put it over the end of the cup that you cut off. Got it? Just like that. And that's why we smoothed out the edges of Sarah's plastic cup, because if they were sharp, it would cut the balloon right here and then it would rip it and then that wouldn't work. So.
Okay.
Good.
We've got a hat.
Very good. Yes, it looks kind of like a silly little hat right there, right? Okay, and now you're ready to go. You have got your shooter totally ready to go. You take a marshmallow. The mini marshmallows work best. The big ones are a little big. They're a little heavy to do. You just load it in, hold it, pull it back.
Amazing.
And there you go. You shoot it. Don't shoot it at anybody's faces.
Okay.
You can ask your mom and dad if you can shoot it at your siblings or each other or your pet. But definitely try not to shoot faces because you don't want to hurt anybody. It's a marshmallow, so you're probably not going to hurt anybody. But just to be sure, you always want to be careful. If your marshmallows aren't
Wow.
you can tie your knot a little bit tighter. So I tied mine a little bit too close to the end. So I'm going to tie mine just a little bit closer so that you don't have too much. When you look inside, you don't want a big gap right there where it goes into.
Oh, we don't want that?
Well, because it'll get stuck sometimes.
Yeah,
and you always want to hold it really good. It's best if you can hold it right on the balloon end like that. Oop, I dropped it.
What I've noticed though is with the plastic cups, maybe at least this one, when I hold it there, it kind of crumples. So I've tried holding it at the rim where it's strongest.
Very good. Yes, and also with the plastic cups, you don't want to cut it quite as deep as she cut it. She cut too much off.
This is tragic.
But the paper cup works great.
Paper cup seems to be taking the cake.
Very good.
Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
another one?
This
All
is
right,
one that
let's try
I
this
had already cut. That's a plastic cup, so you can just see the difference in that one's just a little bit. That one's, you want to cut about a third of the cup off for that one.
Do a science experiment. Figure out which cup works best with what different
Exactly.
things.
A variable. We've talked about that a lot. That anytime. Oh, there it is. There you go. Let's see. Oh, that one didn't even go very far.
I want to know how these are working for y'all.
Right. Very good. We definitely want to see some pictures or videos of you guys with your marshmallow shooters. You could also.
I mean,
that was good. That was perfect. Yeah.
Moderate.
You just gotta practice. You know, anything else, it's practice. You can set up some tape on the floor or draw some lines in chalk and make target practice.
Oh my gosh, that launched it.
That went up way up high. Oh my gosh.
It went.
Okay, that just went over the building.
It's
So
stuck in the gutter.
go straight up. Absolutely, that's a super fun way to do it. But if you don't have any marshmallows, you could also do teeny tiny pieces of paper. Just crumple up a little piece of paper. You just want it about the size of a mini marshmallow and not heavy, so that you.
Did you see it coming up?
I know. See, it's super fun. Kind of makes a mess, but again, they're just marshmallows. So if you do it outside, you can just pick them up when you're done. If you do it inside, depending on what your mom or dad says, you can probably let your dog eat them. That would be a fun game. Let him chase after them. Or you could just sit here and then shoot them at each other and be distracted. So anyway, okay, so that was project number 2. Okay, so number 3, this is a big part of why we are outside. We're gonna play with some water. So I know yesterday, it's kind of cloudy right now, but yesterday it was really sunny out and it was even warm. I know my daughter had her swimsuit on. She was in the backyard. She was getting some sun because it felt like it might be summer. So even though we can't go to the pool, we can't go to the splash pad, nothing's open yet. But we can still play outside and have some beach day fun, right? So Sarah's got some buckets of water.
Yes.
These are just regular buckets. You can totally fill up a bowl or a box or something like that of water. And this is one of our favorite things to do. If you guys have ever been to a pop-up with us in the park, we do these a lot at the pop-ups, especially when it's warm, because it's simple. It's actually not messy at all. It's just water. So if it's warm enough and your mom says it's okay, you can put your swimsuit on so you don't get your clothes all wet. But it's really great. These are just regular paintbrushes. You can use the foam kind. You can use the real like outdoor house kind. You can use craft ones. Any kind of paintbrushes you want. And you just paint with the water. It's super simple. If you have little ones, it's a great way to practice their letters. You can practice writing your name. You can practice drawing shapes. One fun thing is, especially depending on how warm it is and how sunny it is outside, the water will start to evaporate. And so you can kind of race, like see if you can write your whole name before any of the letters are gone. Or yeah, you can play tic-tac-toe and watch them
That's a good
disappear.
idea.
Yeah, you can pretty much do anything. A lot of times the toddlers will end up just painting their body, which is totally fine.
I mean, the paintbrush feels great on your skin.
It does. And again, it's just, I'm going to turn the camera so you guys can see the cement a little bit and see sort of what sort of we're doing here with our drawings. But it's just water. So it's a little bit dirty because you're on the concrete, but
it goes away.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's totally fun. You can also, we have some sponges. These are just regular sponges like for the kitchen. And you can dip the sponges in the water. That's really fun. Again, the little ones really love this, but if your mom says it's okay and you guys are a little bit bigger, you guys can have a sponge war. And
Sponge war?
Absolutely. You just throw wet sponges at your brothers and sisters. It's very fun. But you can squish the sponges down like this. You can make more of your art with the sponges. You can coat them on yourself. You can throw wet sponges at each other. I'm not going to throw a wet sponge at Sarah.
I appreciate you.
but I could. I totally
absolutely
could.
could.
Do we have, did you put the scissors over there?
Yes,
Okay.
I have the scissors.
Yeah, so like I said, if you have sponges and you are interested, you can cut the sponges. Like we could cut this one I just cut into a little straight line here. And so then that just gives us more of like a stamp kind of thing. So we can make little lines and make different shapes or whatever we like. The sun is actually starting to come out now, which is really nice because it's giving us more of our example of how the water will disappear as we go. Another fun thing to play with, I'm just gonna back the camera up just a tiny bit and we'll go up a little bit there. Very good. So another fun water thing to play with are spray bottles. So I have some spray bottles already full. These are just plain spray bottles from the dollar store. Just sprayed my phone.
I didn't think it was gonna go that far. So.
Yeah. You can also use like a bottle from a cleaner or something. Just run it through the dishwasher first to make sure that all of the chemicals are out of it. Any kind of spray bottle that you have that's left over, just fill it with water. And you know the thing about spray bottles is you adjust the tip of it. Let's see if you can see right there. So if you have it really wide, it's a mist, or you can turn it to sometimes on like a cleaner one, it'll say like spray or stream. So if you can get it in the straight line one, you can actually get, there we go, straight lines. And then that's another way to play with the water. You can use it to write with the water. You can use it to play some games. Or again, you could have as part of your sponge war. You could have a spray bottle war.
Spray bottle war.
Absolutely. You just spray your brothers and sisters with the water.
Like I sprayed
That's
your
pretty
phone.
much that. Yes, exactly like you spray my phone. That's pretty much all there is to it. Is just spraying each other, just to get wet. You can spray yourself. You can do whatever. It's just water. It's just buckets of water. But it's definitely a way to cool off, a way to get outside, and a way to have a little bit of fun. We're gonna do one more thing. I want to come
Even
right
if it's
over
not
this way
sunny
here.
today, it's sure
Exactly.
gets
It's
sunny
definitely starting to get sunny, and we're going to be with. Okay, so scooch over here.
All right, we are scooching.
So the last thing that we're gonna do is we are gonna do some chalk, and we're just gonna show you guys. A really fun thing is if you, let me see. Yeah, there we go. Good. So if you draw with chalk, then add the water to it later, so you can draw whatever you would like, Sarah.
Oh man, so much pressure. I'll draw the cat.
But if you're already doing chalk art, you're gonna love what happens when you add the water to it. So, kind of like with our salt art, the water will
Turn into a pig.
will make our art blend. There we go. Scooch a little closer. There we go. So the water's gonna blend our art and make it like literal watercolors. And this is even something you don't have to do it on the concrete. If you have chalk, you can do this on like a piece of paper. If you have like black paper, it looks really pretty because
I bet.
it blends everything all in together. So there we go. And again, we get more of like the ombre blended effect, so it's really good to blend different colors together and see how they all go. And then as it dries, you can see it's already starting to dry. It's very funny. It's like all of a sudden so wet and then all of a sudden so dry. And mostly because of the weather. We are very lucky here in Texas that it's so nice out, and I think it's going to be a really nice weekend. So these are some really fun projects you guys can do at home with the whole family. Make your mom and dad get wet.
I'm sure they'll love that.
Make them get a little bit dirty. Everybody's sick of being stuck inside. So this is a great way to do all of that. Okay, Sarah's got a really good rainbow going.
Got a
here.
rainbow. It's
Okay, so there you go, Sarah. You can use the paintbrush
Oh,
now.
thank you, thank you.
And you can see as mine is starting to dry. Let me just get you a little closer here. There we go. Good. Okay, so we'll watch Sarah's there.
Ooh, very
Oops,
pretty.
where did it go? There we go. Very good. Very good. So you can see how the colors blend together. Oops.
Oops.
It's fine. So you can see how the colors all blend together and kind of smooth out, and instead of like the hard lines of the chalk,
Ooh, we need more water.
we have really pretty, smooth, sort of creamy. I mean, it looks more like paint, real paint kind of thing there. You can also try this if you want to do it on paper. You can do this. See how this chalk here is sort of ground up and in little clumps? You can kind of grind your chalk together to, yeah, you're good. You can grind your chalk together to make that kind of dust, and then just dip a paintbrush in it and then actually paint with that. Because watered down chalk will make really pretty effects, especially when it dries. It gets really pretty when it dries. And it gets kind of thick and hard and looks like one big cohesive piece. Okay, so we're gonna give that just a second and let it dry so we can see how it all dries together.
Lots of color still on my brush. Very cool.
Absolutely, that's a great point. So Sarah's got color still left on her brush because of painting those edges. So now she can color with it like that, and that's another fun way to make it last longer and to make new art there. Oh, look at that! It's starting to- Okay, all right. So we're gonna check
I
back
used to
on
do
that
this
in
with
just
my
one
hose.
second. You did what?
I used to do this with my hose.
Absolutely, you can totally do it with those. Okay, so just to recap, guys, so we did the celt art painting. We made marshmallow shooters.
Oh, so much fun.
We painted with water on the driveway. We played with spray bottles. We played with sponges. And then we did some watercolor with our chalk. So all sorts of really fun, super simple things you guys can do right in your driveway. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't really need a lot of equipment. You probably already have most of this stuff at home. And if you don't, you know what? You can be flexible. If you don't have sponges, you can use a washcloth or an old t-shirt and just kind of use it
great
to
idea.
squish it up and then drop the water in it like that. And you can use, like I said, the food coloring or the watercolors. So depending on whatever kind of stuff you have. You can also use, if you don't have any chalk to do outside, but you want to do some color, if you have Kool-Aid packets, you can mix Kool-Aid with a little bit of water, not the full Kool-Aid amount, but a little bit of water, and then use that to paint, and it'll add a really nice color to it there. So, okay, so we hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to add all the instructions in the comments below. Let us know if you try it. We'd love to see pictures or videos of your Marshmallow Wars.
Absolutely.
And definitely pictures of your art that you create. And we will see you guys again next week for another video. I'm just going to end on, look at that. Look at Sarah's gorgeous chalk art here. Isn't it beautiful? So nice. All right, good job, Sarah. Thank you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.